Thank you very much, Program Director, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ignatius from the Office of the Registrar. I'm going to take you through the will registration. Okay, here as it's presented the purpose. I will start with the purpose there. The purpose of will registration is to ensure that will registration is taking place in accordance with the rules and regulations of Tshwane University of Technology. Okay, I just want to make it bigger. Okay, I just want to. I want it. This one, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, the definition of this. This is not really a definition, it's just a summary of what was been taken from the rules and regulations of student rules and regulations. It reads as follows: some qualifications are designed to incorporate will into their curricula. Will may take various forms, including simulated learning, work direct theoretical learning, problem-based learning, project-based learning. I'm not going to go through this, but this is just a summary of the will work integrated learning. So what I'm going to focus on is the period of study. I don't know how many of you are aware of the new rule that we must register students according to the certain days. So this is just a summary. According to the Senate resolution, all students should register for will in the following blocks. This was the decision taken from the Senate committee that all the faculties must adhere to the following. So if a student finds an employment in January, that registration it's supposed to take for 6 months. In this case, it's going to be from January to June, then again February to July, March to August, April to September, May to October, June to November, July to December, up until November to April. Unfortunately, we haven't got the December one, but however, in case if the student find an employment in December, we can always accommodate them either block November or January. Okay, this is just the process of will registration. The first step, student must find the employment. Student complete the will registration form. The HOD or will coordinator approve and sign the will. Student pay the necessary registration fee. Registration staff check registration form and employment letter. Student is registered according to the employment dates. So what we meant here is that on the employment, we register student according to the employment letter. Suppose the student find the job in April. We are now in May. Then unfortunately, we're not going to register student in May. We are guided by the employment dates. So in this case, we are going to register student from April. Okay.
Sorry, can I just stop you there? I don't want to be rude, but what about the rule against back registration of students? Because what you're saying is if you found employment in April and you registers in May, and you're going to register him from April now, I don't understand.
Okay, this, as you recall, we don't really become strict with them because they find it very difficult for some of them to find the employment out there. It's not the same with like normal subjects, but this one is a different scenario. Some students, they are working as far as in Durban, so they find it difficult to come all the way to this side. Or some departments, they are not very supportive to that extent that they can leave the forms with them. So those poor students have to drive all the way from Durban, or some they don't even have like enough time. So we do cater those kind of students.
I think we'll take questions and let it go.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Chair.
For yourself.
Okay. These are the rules and regulations, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna go through these rules and regulations. All the information is in chapter 5 of the student rules and regulations. So if you need more information about that, you can just find yourself a copy of this. Then I'm gonna look at the advantages. The advantages of will registration. A student can register for will anytime according to the employment dates in a specific registration period. Staff can ensure that students register according to employment period indicated on the employment letter. Student will only be registered if the employer is approved or accredited. The disadvantage. Students who register for February to July and August to January periods will have a negative experience in future if they want to continue with their BTech students in the following semester. What I meant here is students who come and register in February, take into account that it has to take about 6 months. And unfortunately or fortunately enough, that student is on a final year and he still wants to pursue his BTech level. So in this case, because he started his registration in February, if you count it, that poor student is going to end up in July. So come second semester, that student won't be able to continue with the BTech level, because it says in the clause that after completion of that 6 months, that student will still have to wait for another 1 month before the results came out. So this is a very serious problem. Okay. Another disadvantage, a huge number of HEMIS corrections are caused because of the different periods of registration. Here what we meant is, if a student registers in September to April for the following year, so what is going to happen for P1, then for P2, when we go and try to register them on the system, it says student already have an open registration for 2017 or 2018. So, but however, we can still continue with that registration. But at the end of the day, when we send it to higher education, they send it back that this is an error, because it's a double registration on the same year. So this is creating a very serious problem. The third one, student can't register online for will subject because the employment letter must be presented for approval and registration. We are very strict about that. Students, they cannot register their online, the will registration online, because we need to see that employment letter first. Lastly, any question?
Okay. I think, all right. Let there be an order. Your hand was up.
Yes, it was about the registration process step 6. How long do they have? Like, let's say for instance, I understand your resume, you say they're far, it's not easy. Like, say for instance, they are placed in Cape Town. They need to have enough money to fly or transport and enough days. It won't be 1 day pay. So would you allow a student that gets employment, say in February, for instance, to come and register in May? And would you register them? I just want to get it over how much time.
Not at all. We don't promote that. You know, sometimes there are exceptional cases. And in this case, that's where we involve the HODs and the dean, that they must write a motivational letter. Then after that, we take it to the registrar for approval, which is a lengthy process.
A follow-up question, sorry. What can you do then in the cases where a student comes to register in, like, I don't know if you picked up this. For me, it creates a problem for the students because they get confused. They remember previous semester TUT registration window was wider than usual because of the strikes. Like in August, it was still open last semester, and even this year, in February, it was still open, the normal registration window. So a student comes in February to register for WIB, but because it's still within the normal period, well, TUT window period, registration period, the system says the student registered for January until June. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Not
it doesn't
yet.
pick up that you are a WIB student, you register in Feb, so you must submit by end of August. It doesn't do that because it's still the normal registration window for any TUT student. I've had a couple of cases where students can't register in February or August. It was last semester as well. They register in August, they're supposed to submit by end of Feb. But okay, but then when they come end of Feb and I submit the mark sheet, I'm told they're late because the system put them in July, December, which is a normal registration window. Does it make sense?
Okay, I'm not too sure if I understood you correctly, but I'll try to answer. As I indicated earlier on, that we are guided by the employment letter. Though the registration was still open, let's for example, in second semester, it's our registration starts normally in July, the 15th or the 17th. But that student maybe might come in August. Even by that time, the registration will still be open. But what is important at the end of the day is the employment days there.
Okay. And before you, Mr. Fadoli, I had a hand to the lady.
My name is Francine from Management.
Can you magnify your voice, please? Yeah.
Oh, Francine. I'm Francine Duplessis from Management and Entrepreneurship. I've taken over from about the end of January from Mr. Feltzman, who passed away, so I'm just trying to work everything out. So I've just got two questions. First thing is, I've had one or two students that come to me and say they haven't even found placement yet, they're just trying to find out about WIB, but for some reason they got through the process and they are already registered. Is that just a mistake that happens? They register from like January to June or July to December and they haven't even brought a placement letter. Is that just a mistake that happens? Because then they worry about they must pay for a re-registration fee. Is there a fee attached to that follow-up registration?
Okay, I will try to answer on that. Somehow, our system is failing us. We'll find that the students, honestly, that is an honest fact. Every now and then we try to test the system, but come the second semester, you find another different story. I've seen this year, there was quite a number of students who registered online. So in that kind of a scenario, that is an exceptional case. We can just reverse back. We can just cancel the student effectively because it's not the student's fault. The system wasn't supposed to open for that student.
Okay, so they can go back and cancel that and then do it from the date.
Yes, that is an exceptional. Because we can go online and check if indeed the student tried to register online or not. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Second part quickly is, even though I stress to the students that they need to register before they actually start their placement, some of them just go ahead and come to me and say, I started last week, here's my placement letter and I'm not registered. What do I sort of do in that situation? I know you can't backdate registration, then you just start from the month that we're currently in.
I'm not sure if I understood you correctly. This student come to you when? After a month?
No, let's say they just come to me this month and they say, ma'am, I already started my work at this organization last week. Here's my placement letter and they still need to register.
Remember, most of the time, we as the registration, we rely much from the department. If you approve it, we don't have any objection on that, except the dates. So it's your responsibility to ensure that if indeed the student is not lying or not. But from our side, we won't know.
All right, I think the gentleman had or are you covered one way or the other?
No, I'm not. There's a slide that talked about, I think it's the slide before this one. I want to go for it.
Sorry.
The one where you spoke to requirements. I just want clarity on the definition of an approved employer. And I ask this question in line with what is the expectation from a work interpreted level. Because for me, I'm in the management service department, operations management. Operations management can be applied everywhere. If I could go to an extreme, even in a spaza shop, you can actually apply principles of operations management. Now, from a university point of view, what is the definition of an employer? And this question, I'm putting it to the forum in the sense that if you look at employment opportunities, most of the students that we deal with, they can't even articulate themselves when they're presenting themselves into companies, which as a result, they end up not graduating when it's time to graduate. Our throughput, as you may be aware, as a country, currently sitting at 54%. And the reason for that is because we are not placing students, because companies are just not employing them. So I need clarity on the definition of what is an accredited employer or an approved employer according to UT.
Okay, on that, I'll give you a practical example before I can define that. Let's go back to the engineering faculty. Some of their courses or their students, they cannot just go out there and find an employment. They must be accredited first, or they have to bring that employment letter with them so that they can be 100% if this is the right company. So unfortunately, as I said, you as the WIL coordinators, it becomes your responsibility. Because from my side, whoever brings the employment letter with your signature as the coordinator at the back, I haven't got any objection. I wouldn't really know if this is a spaza shop or is the right company. So defining this, I think it has to come back to the quorum so that we can discuss this, so that we can come up with the right definition.
Thank you. I think Mr. Mutawang wants to, before you said,
No,
Mr. Mutawang wants to react on that.
The definition, the program itself, the department, the program, they are the people that define them. That our students will be able to, these outcomes will be able to realize in this particular employment. So they are the ones who approves, who accredits.
Meaning the academic.
Yeah, the program, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Mr. Sosibo, Lorika, and the gentleman, I think you wanted to. And I think I'll close with you. Please. Mr. Sosibo.
Okay. I think we are exposing ourselves as God leaders.
Technology. Yeah, there you are.
I think we are exposing ourselves as coordinators. The questions we ask, they are not relevant. This guy is here to empower us. That's how we should register the will segments. And we must adhere to those things. And the letters cannot be taken to registration offices before passing the academic department. Secondly, when we talk the accreditation, it's only the academic department knowing what task and what skills should be acquired by the students out there. And all of that should happen in the department, not in the registration. Their duty is just to register what is approved by the department.
Yeah, thanks. I think that was clarified by the lady as well. And I think, Lorika?
Well, I don't have a question. I just really have a suggestion for registration, and maybe they will hear me now. But you know what? You said earlier on, the WIL students cannot register online. Problem number one. You said as well, some of our students come from Durban. We are a university of technology. Why cannot we open up the WIL registration so that the students can register online? They will be able to scan it. Can I just finish? They will be able to scan in their letters. The HRBs will be able to get through the iEnabler or whatever you decide, a prompt or an email for approval for the students to register. And then it will make our lives of students coming a week or a month or 3 months later, because for them, if they are working in Durban to come to the university to register, it's ridiculous. really these students don't have money even to go to the employment stations, never mind to travel to and from Pretoria and Durban. So it's just a suggestion that we start thinking about how to make it easier for us to manage this registration period for WIL.
Thanks for it.
Maybe just to add on, what I've seen with other departments, they just allow their students. Practical example is in the electrical engineering. Most of their students, they send through their documents to Violet, and she will bring everything in bulk to the registration. Wherever that we encounter a problem, we just communicate with her, then she will notify the students. So I think in that way, it's another way of trying to assist those students.
Yeah, but all departments are also good up as engineering. I mean,
we wish that every department was operating like that, but other departments, they will tell you that it's not our responsibility. It's a registration problem. We are the academic, it's got nothing to do with us. You see, if every one of us was trying his or her best to assist the student, this was going to go smooth.
All right. It's starting to be the battle of departments, but I guess departments have got different challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think you are my last guy.
Yeah, thanks, Chairperson. I just want a clarification and also an advice from my colleague, Mapunda Salukaya from IT Department, Social Work. I'm also a WIL coordinator for my students. For instance, in your presentation, I'm not sure if I captured you when you talk about the part of the dating in terms of, for instance, the student started in April and then he come, let's say, in May. And then I'm not sure if you said on your system you're going to capture as if he started in April. But I'm trying to be on the practical point of view in terms of monitoring the student, because we have what you call logbook and all such. So on our side, because as far as I understand, I start to adhere to monitor the student on the month, let's say let's say around May, and then I start to count up until 6 months. I wanted to find out from you, when you said you will register that student, let's say April, even if he started on May, you are saying even when we monitor, you must also try to check what was the student was doing in April, and then we continue. I'm not sure, I wanted to get on that one.
Okay.
That's the first thing. And then the last one, I wanted to get an advice from my colleagues. For instance, there are some real programs whereby students, they do projects. And I'm also coordinating some of them. For instance, the way I monitor them, as much as, for instance, there is a challenge for these guys to get internship and so forth. If you check the way I run mine, I run in either form of it's a semester kind of stuff. Regardless, we have the dates because we allow them, because I've got support students and network students. Network students, they do industrial projects, of which down the line, those projects have to be evaluated within the campus, and we also invite external moderators to assess this project. Where other students, they can't bring their staff, we go to the industry and so forth. So it's a little bit a challenge now from a practical point of view in terms of assessment. When other students come at a later part, for instance, there is a proposal submission, we sit as a committee in the department, we assess the proposal, we accept or reject, we advise students, we have a pre-evaluation session, they come and present what they've been doing, then we guide prior to their final evaluation. So you can check there are some time where we need students in collective. So when they come one by one, it's a little bit a small challenge to monitor such, especially students who are doing projects. So I just wanted to get from my colleagues, how do they do it on their side? Because from my personal point of view, if a student came at a later stage, let's say proposal are already submitted, I'll be guided if I'm wrong. I wanted to get a clarity. What I normally do, I just share the student the study guide. This is what will be expected from you in preparation when you'll be ready for submission. So I'm not sure if it's wrong, because I feel like it's already late for the entire program. So I just wanted to get a clarity. If there are some WIL coordinators who are also doing projects, because there is an external moderation that needs to be done.
Okay, let me try to answer that first question, but the second one, as you said, you're expecting our colleagues to try to help you with that. Okay, going back to the dates, most of the time we'll find that there was one student who couldn't register in April. But the employment status says the student found the employment on the 10th of April. But for whatever reason, the student couldn't come on time. Then here comes, at the end of May, Mr. X wants to register for April as well. Just because of the fact that we allow that one, we call it the precedence. So then we can accommodate this one because of that precedence. But another thing, it also depends on the motivation. What was the problem? So in many times we don't really condone that we want this back registration. We don't. But at some certain circumstances, we are forced to. And just to highlight on that, let me just go back to these slides. This period of study, it's been approved by the Senate. But I know, or I heard, that some faculties, they don't adhere to this. Some, they are using either block 1 or block 2. This is not according to the resolution. If the auditors come and check this, those departments will find themselves in trouble because this is what was approved. So if they want us to change this, this is the reason why we've got this kind of a workshop. We can engage each other so that we can try to better this situation.
I think you are responding to the advice that you're seeking.
On the dates itself, I just want to ask some question.
Briefly, because we are running out of time.
We've got, with the new curriculization that's getting in, we've got a goal that we need to implement from first year level, but the problem is our subjects run on a year basis, not on a block, nothing, it's year courses. So does that mean the student needs to register twice a year for WIL?
Do you mean like P1, P2?
No, it's a subject.
Yes.
And it's a year course. Our courses are year courses. So for that specific WIL subject, do they need to register them twice a year? Because there's no January to November classification.
This one, it was from the old National Qualification Framework. So currently they are working on the new one, because as from next
year. So that's going to change?
Yeah, probably. This, we will have to adjust to this.
No, that is fine.
All right. I think I'm looking for a response within 3 seconds from these speakers. Are you responding to him?
Yes, we have a year block. We've been having it from years ago, and we've been running a year. For the new curriculum, it will change. But we do once a year, and I don't know how registration does it, but we're doing a year program. Which course is that? Public relations management, business communication, and international communication.
Okay, let me just three seconds.
I just want to share with the colleague. Your question, you're saying there's a problem with that in terms of your own specific dates that you have in your department. We do the same. Our students do present. But since you are having a problem with the dates in terms of registration, but then it remains your responsibility to inform the student who happens, for instance, to register in March, and you give them your dates of that year, your core calendar, that the city will be on this date to do the presentation and the evaluations. So since you register in March, unfortunately, you won't make it because you're still lacking so many weeks. Therefore, you fall on that other date. Then the student will be informed before they even register. Then it's much easier that way. Otherwise, if we have to change what is fixed, I mean, everybody's got a different scenario, and it will never work.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maraba.